That's my tough-looking warrior. That's what I'm talking about. Now get out there and make me proud.
Do you ever wonder, what if? What if Moana never became chief? What if Arendelle was destroyed? What if our favorite Disney movies were completely different? These deleted scenes reveal entirely new endings and characters that never made it to the big screen. But would they have made the movies better or worse? From the Frozen 2 ending that almost was to the weird way Remy was supposed to cook in Ratatouille, these Disney deleted scenes show us a whole new world. Onward gives us a touching look to two brothers who bond trying to bring their father back to life for a day. But did you know that there was almost a third main character? Jenny, a satyr and waitress at the Manticore's Tavern, was originally supposed to join the brothers on their journey. She was going to be their fantasy guru until the writers decided that they didn't really need her. Instead, Varley took over the role of fantasy buff. One scene that was cut featured Jenny and the brothers meeting a few sirens. It turns out that sirens in Onward act exactly like real estate agents, except a lot more dangerous. They can basically get anyone to give them anything. The scene was eventually cut because the sirens were just too dangerous for a kid's movie. And then, later, Jenny was also cut from the movie, and Barley took the wheel as the biggest fantasy fan.
I used to go, bum, bum, bum.
Whoa!
5-second rule.
But including Jenny would have totally changed up the movie. Maybe it would have felt more like a road trip with friends than a family bonding opportunity. Jenny may never be officially animated, but at least we can check out the animated storyboard online to see what a journey with Jenny would have been like. The ending of Frozen 2 was originally supposed to be a lot sadder. Instead of Anna and Elsa meeting by the water to celebrate saving Arendelle, Anna was supposed to meet her sister so that they could comfort each other about the water wiping out the city. In this version, Anna never makes it to the dam on time, and Elsa and Anna have to try and think of how they can restore their flooded city. This ending came so close to happening that they actually animated the floodwater hitting the city. But at the end of the day, they decided that it was a bit too sad and they wanted to end the movie on a more hopeful note. But could you imagine how different things would have been if Arendelle was destroyed? Anna and Elsa would have had to return together to restore their village, and Elsa may never have gotten the chance to take over as Spirit of the Forest. And it probably wouldn't have been the best time for Kristoff to propose. But if you are curious about what could have been in a darker version of the Frozen timeline, then you can find the full animated storyboard of the deleted ending online. The live-action Mulan may have been delayed, but Disney did let it slip that one juicy scene has already been cut from the movie. Disney's been pretty upfront about changes they're making to the flick. The first is that it's not a musical, and the second is that we won't get to see Mushu or Cricket. But the third major change is that there's no Shang. However, that doesn't mean Mulan won't have a love interest in the new movie. Instead, a new character, Chen Honghui, will take over as the man Mulan gets a crush on while she's training for the army. But their romance won't be much of a big deal on screen. Disney had to delete a scene that features a kiss between the two characters. Disney just really wants to focus on Mulan being a warrior, not on her needing a man. Even with these changes, Disney promises Mulan will capture the magic of the original. We'll have to wait and see if we miss the kiss or if it's for the best. And if we get lucky, Disney might even add the deleted scene to Disney Plus once the movie finally makes its way to the streaming service.
You know what I've become.
Oh, I don't judge people on their worst mistakes.
It's hard to think back on how Natasha sacrificed herself in Avengers Endgame and not to be a little sad. But did you know that Natasha's original ending was much worse? In a deleted scene that you can stream on Disney Plus, Natasha and Clint are fighting Thanos' lackeys on Vormir as they try to get the Soul Stone. Each of them fights to get close enough to the edge of the cliff to sacrifice themselves. It's the same idea as the original, but as Natasha dives for the cliff's edge and sees Thanos drawing closer, she throws herself off, and we see the horror on Clint's face. This is so much worse than the original because the two never get a moment of closure, and Clint doesn't have much time to take in what just happened because Thanos is still coming. Both scenes have the same result, but Hawkeye might have had a lot more trouble dealing with Natasha's sudden and emotional loss if they never really got to say goodbye. Do you prefer Natasha's original ending or the touching moment we get to see between her and Clint? Let us know what you think in the comments. From the first few minutes of Moana, we already know that she's destined to be chief. She's being trained by her father, and she's an only child.
There will come a time when you will stand on this peak and place
a stone on this mountain.
In the first draft of the story, Moana had 6 older brothers. That's right, 6. In this version, Moana would have had to earn the right to become chief instead of one of her brothers. The plan was probably to have her return the heart of Te Fiti with the help of Maui and earn her spot as top dog, but the writers eventually decided that focusing on her story as an only child would be much more interesting. Still, we can't help but wonder what Moana's brothers would have looked like and what kind of songs the family would have belted out together on the open sea. Her brothers would have likely played a pretty important role in Moana's story somewhere along the way, but for now, we'll have to let our imaginations run wild with thoughts of what Moana's life would be like with 6 siblings. The live-action remake of Aladdin had a few deleted scenes on Blu-ray and DVD, like an entire song called Desert Moon performed by Jasmine and Aladdin. But one of the coolest has to be the scene where we see some of the worst wishes Genie's past masters have ever made.
I could just make you a prince.
Oh, no.
Right, you'll be snuggled up with that dude for the rest of your life.
We get to see how a man wishing to be irresistible to women leads to him getting chased, how one man blows himself up after wishing to hold the power of the universe, and how another man accidentally turns himself to gold. The scene would have made for some great cautionary comedy about what's to come later in the movie from characters making poorly thought out wishes. We're looking at you, Jafar. And even though Aladdin is a pretty good wish maker and doesn't need the extra pointers, we definitely would have appreciated the visuals. Miguel's first introduction to Hector in Coco was supposed to go down a lot differently. Entering the afterlife can be pretty overwhelming, so there were a lot of ideas floating around about how exactly Miguel would make his way through the city. One idea was to have Hector be a celebrity tour guide on a train. This was supposed to be how Miguel first meets him, and also how Hector was supposed to get Miguel to Ernesto de la Cruz. The team completed a storyboard of the scene where Hector tells Miguel the rules of the afterlife, but the role just seemed too official for Hector, and the writers wanted to show off his trickster ways. If they had gone with the idea of tour guide Hector, the whole story could have been totally different. Miguel might have never taken the same path to Ernesto, or ran into the same characters, and we would have gotten to see Hector in an entirely new light. The Blu-ray and DVD release of this film has the Hector scene available for you to enjoy, as well as other deleted scenes, including an entire opening song called Dia de los Muertos.
He's the one behind these recipes. He's the cook. The real cook.
Remy's creative cooking technique from Ratatouille is unforgettable, but the rat almost did things a whole lot differently. The first version of Remy teaching Linguini how to cook involved the rat hiding in kitchen drawers. Linguini would pass him spoons and spice, and Remy would do the work. This version is a lot more subtle than Remy hiding under Linguini's chef hat, but it wasn't nearly as helpful as the animators hoped. A little more time at the drawing board ended with them putting Remy in a chef's hat and having him pull Linguini's hair to guide him around the kitchen. This new technique made the movie funnier and developed the relationship between Linguini and Remy, since they were always stuck so close together. It's crazy to think that the iconic scenes of Remy almost getting discovered under the enormous chef's hat almost never were, but the deleted scene is available online and on the DVD bonus disc if you want to see Remy try his skill at cooking before the animators discovered his real secret hiding place. One of the standout new characters in Finding Dory is Hank the Octopus. Well, technically, Septopus. But Hank's motivations were supposed to be a lot different. In the deleted version, Dory doesn't go to quarantine and instead ends up in the octopus exhibit, where she finds herself trapped in Hank's tank. Hank still decides to help her, but it's because he wants this strange blue fish out of his personal bubble, not because he wants to escape the aquarium. Hank also has an interesting quirk in this version of things. As he tries to help Dory find her family, he carries out a bottle of hot sauce. This hot sauce addiction was supposed to be fun, but it turned annoying fast when the animators had to find a way for an octopus to constantly have a bottle of hot sauce with him. The hot sauce was cut, and Hank was given his desire to escape, and the rest is history. The deleted scene can be found on Blu-ray and DVD, so you can take a look and imagine what Hank would have been like if he hadn't kicked the hot sauce habit for good. Wallys Ending will go down in Disney's history as one of the most emotional scenes ever, but the movie's first ending was a lot different and pretty much hated by fans. Wallys' original ending was so close to being the final version of the film that it was actually completely animated and aired as test screenings. It featured Eve getting hurt in the airlock instead of Wall-E. A tense moment follows where you wonder if Eve will make it as Wall-E tries to repair her, but then she does and the movie seems pretty much over. This ending just didn't have the emotion the audience wanted, so Disney decided to take the film back to the drawing board. After some thought, they came up with the version we know and love. It's a powerful ending where all the characters come together and Wall-E realizes what makes him special. We honestly can't imagine the movie ending any other way, but the alternate ending is available online if you want to take a peek and see what it could have been. And while we wouldn't want to replace the original, an alternate version of Wall-E that centers on Eve would be pretty cool.
Eve!
Which deleted scene is your favorite? And which one are you happy got cut? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to The Things for more of your favorite content. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.